Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Richard's Podcast Land. And today we'll be having Danny Kramer that is going to be our guest for the interview. But before we get started, how are you doing today so far?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking.
You're very much
Thank you so much for
welcome.
having me on here.
You're very much welcome. You're actually known to be one of the first people to interview during the first start of this year, which I made a promise and I'm very happy to make it for real.
Yeah, we did it. Awesome.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions to ask to you about your voiceover career and some stuffs. Now, further than do, let's get started, shall we?
All
So,
right, sounds
here's
good.
my first question. What's it like to become a voice actor in many animated shows that you voiced at?
What's it like? Well, it's just a lot of fun. It's something I never thought I would actually really do, but I've always admired and appreciated actors and voice actors, But actually getting to do it and everything, it's just so much fun, and getting to see how much people love the shows you're a part of and everything is wonderful. But even when you're part of stuff that doesn't necessarily get big or blow up or anything like that, it's just still so much fun to just play in whatever worlds you go into and make believe and stuff like that. We get to make a living off of being getting to play pretend, and it's a lot of fun. It's really fulfilling. So yeah, just feel like a big kid.
Yeah. Well, that's really great to hear. I'm glad you're enjoying it so far. Which your answer leads me to the most important question I need to ask. Like, how did you became interested in acting and what inspired you to pursue this as your career? Since where did this all started?
Yeah, well, I've always done acting since I was a kid.
Okay.
I remember back in grade school and everything, I would be part of school plays and everything that my school would put on. It was a lot of fun, and it was just something I always did for fun. So I would say in college is where I started to really study like acting as an actual like thing. Though I was always part of drama clubs and everything throughout high school and stuff. But in college, that's when I really kind of started studying it towards the latter half of college. The beginning, I wanted to study medicine, become a doctor, and I that wasn't working for me. So I instead shifted to studying communications and media, specifically for filmmaking and everything. So that became my focus. But then as I was doing that, I wanted to get better at being able to direct people when I'm filming them and everything, because a lot of our practice stuff was uh, narrative pieces and stuff. So it's like I want to understand acting better so that I can, really direct people better, specifically for on camera stuff. And that studying classes that went really well. And then eventually, when I went out into the world, I decided to just focus on doing production. I was like, okay, if acting stuff happens, that happens, but I'm not really going to focus on that. But then on a film set for an industrial, we were going to do a quick turnaround because the studio had a space that we could do audio work at. And the actor that was supposed to do the voiceover for this industrial we were doing didn't show up, but the producers, friends of mine from a wonderful company called I Imagine, they're like, Danny, you got a bit of a background in acting. Why don't you do this? And I'm like, I mean, I could, but voice acting is very different than my experience with stage acting and on camera acting. I don't know about this or that. And they're like, that's great. Okay, so here's the script. Like they just, they had me do it and threw me in the booth, and it went well. And the client had me come back and do some other stuff for them. And eventually, I just started doing stuff for friends and for clients that we knew well. And then eventually, it was just like, hey, why don't you just really study this and do it as a thing? And I did, and that's where I started. I started going to Actors Connection in Manhattan, and it was there that I met Darren Dunstan and Paul Liberti and other wonderful teachers and casting directors that eventually I got my shot at doing auditions for. And my first character audition was for Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know if I can talk too much about auditions that I did, but the first audition that I did and booked was the Shepherd for Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. And then for commercial stuff, that started coming kind of alongside that too, and just eventually it just became a thing, and I got with my agency, and I was doing all sorts of stuff, Pokemon, Marvel, everything that came along after that. So sorry, I hope that wasn't too long of an answer, but that was how that happened. So yeah.
Well, that's really great to hear your whole experience of acting and stuff before you started your training as a voiceover actor. Like, speaking of college, like, did you ever perform any plays in front of your local theater in front of the whole audience? Like, which one is your favorite? Like, who do you prefer the most that you perform in front of the whole theater?
When I was in, in college, I don't think I did a lot of on-stage theater stuff. I actually
Oh,
did a lot of stage stage crew work. So setting up stages and everything like that. When I started working in media, doing a lot of behind the scenes filming of plays and everything, but I didn't really do a lot of on stage work
mm.
during college. It was mostly during like middle school and high school. In middle school, grade school, I don't remember, but I think it was in middle school. Probably my favorite one that I did on stage was playing Abraham Lincoln doing the Gettysburg Address. That was in fifth or sixth grade. That was really something. And then and it was funny too because back when I did that, I had to learn how to pretend to be confident because I wasn't when I was like 11. And then it's funny. It's gonna sound ridiculous. In high school, my favorite stage that I put on that was for the whole town and everything was I it was for our annual talent show, and the one that I did my senior year, I played. It must have been about a dozen different characters across a dozen different sketches. Excuse me, sketches and skits. But the one that I remember most fondly is playing Dr. Phil, having a therapy session with Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. That was a whole lot of fun, and I had to wear a bald cap and everything, and put on a little bit of his accent, and that's not how he talks, but but that sort of thing. And it was a lot of fun. People really liked it. My classmates loved it, and it was just so much fun. And I remember that very fondly. So yeah, just yeah, those are my favorites.
Well, I'm really happy to hear that. Like your whole roles and everything. I'm really happy that you enjoy performing in front of your whole audience because it's really a good start when you wanted to start your whole voiceover journey. Like performing in front of the whole people will give you some acting experience no matter what.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it definitely teaches you not to get rid of that embarrassment very quickly. Like if you flub a line, it's fine. They don't know. Just keep going as if it's part of the show.
Yeah,
So yeah,
true.
yeah.
Yeah. Say, after you accomplish your acting skills, have you ever took any voiceover classes before you made your first demo reel?
Oh yeah, I didn't bother making a demo reel until after I had taken plenty of voiceover classes. I think the first one that I made um, was with Actors Connection, and it was really a whole lot of fun. And just
Okay.
that was after a number of years of learning how to really do commercial reads and everything, and really understanding how to make that you know, uh, to do it well because I want
Yeah.
my demo reel to sound good and to be a good representation of what I could do for clients. And that reel got me a lot of work. And then over time, as I got actual work and copies read, I modified it and added in things that I actually did. I still keep like one in there of one that I like produced, but most of the stuff that I have in my current commercial demo is stuff that I've done. And then for my character one, that one I did with a certain voice acting coach, and he's fantastic, and I still work with him today, and it's uh, it's fantastic. I'm so happy with the way that it turned out. It was phenomenal. So yeah, and that's my character demo, and I use that to pull in the character work, get people's attention for that. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, making a demo reel could be really expensive to make. Like, what I could recommend for people in the easier way or the hard way is either wait till I think like 2 years or 4 years before they could submit it to one of the agents or the producers because they don't want to submit their demo reel a little too quickly. Because if they did it without any acting experiences, boom, their money is no more. Trust me.
Yeah, no, that really is true. You really want to get to a point. I mean, for everyone, it could be different. It could be like you said, 2 years. It could be 5 or 6 years. But the thing about it
Yeah.
is that it really depends on like the most important thing is your acting skill because it's voice acting, you know? So you want to make sure that you're able to really properly convey all of the emotions and everything that you want to put out there. And when you're confident and feeling like, yeah, I can really do that, and that you have developed an array of different styles of read and everything like that, and can do so confidently, that's the time to do it. And that's in the time that it takes you. I think for me, it was probably about 4 years before I really thought about doing a demo reel, and I think I started studying voiceover in like 2015, so it was like around 2019 that I made my commercial demo reel, and that was the right time for me to do it. But yeah, you know.
Yeah, true. I mean, speaking of that, do you ever know who made the animation reels or the commercials? Like, wasn't it like Darren Dunstan? Because I did remember Darren Dunstan trains a lot of people that want to get into voiceover. Like, speaking of it, how's it like working with him, the famous
it
legendary?
was great. Let me start with the who made what. For the commercial demo reel, I worked with a teacher that worked at Actors Connection. For my animation demo reel, I worked with a coach at Edge Studio, and he goes by the name James Snyder, and he's really excellent. And it was a wonderful experience working with him and getting to make that demo. For Darren, he's just wonderful to work with. He
Yeah.
really is. He's so funny, and he really kind of puts a lot of trust in the court of the actor. Like, he's like, he really helps you to find like your voice as the character. Every director has their own different style, and each style is valid. But Darren's style is very much like, let's find something that kind of works and flows with this character, and you got it in you. Like, what's the right thing that kind of flows, and this and that. And he's just so much fun. He's very loosey goosey in a good way with it, and just makes it so much fun working with him and everything. And he just keeps it nice and chill all the sessions. He's wonderful, really fantastic.
Yeah. I'm really happy you had a good opportunity to work with him. Like, speaking of him, did you ever like grew up watching his voices in a lot of animated shows before you ever worked with him? Like Pokemon, Sonic, Ninja Turtles, or something?
I did. I knew him well as Pegasus, and as Master Splinter from the 2003 Ninja Turtles. I enjoyed both of those shows a whole lot, and yeah, I I knew he was when I signed up for the class and everything. But I didn't make a big deal of it. I'm like, oh, it's nice to meet you, Darren Dunstan, voice actor of stuff that I loved from my childhood. I mean, hi, like, kept it cool, I keep it cool and all that. But it is certainly just a dream come true getting to work with the likes of him and Lisa Ortiz and other wonderful people that I got to hear when I was a kid. And I just thought, wow, that's so cool. And then I meet them, and it's like, oh no, you are so cool. You're a cool person, and it's just it's wonderful. So well, it really is.
Yep, such a true legend, all right. Darren Dunstan, he's also a famous voice actor. To anyone who wants to get a career in voiceover if they're serious, taking his class is the best way to start. Trust me, it is.
No, definitely, if you're interested in animation anime, it's definitely a fantastic course, and he has beginner courses and stuff. So yeah, he's a fantastic teacher
Yeah,
to start with.
yeah,
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Okay, next question. What's it like being the voice of Ryan from Pokemon Journeys?
It's a lot of fun. A lot of people love Pokemon, and getting to be Raihan is just a blast. He's a very passionate and uh, competitive kind of character, and it's a lot of fun. I always enjoy playing characters that have like a high like fighting spirit and stuff like that. So he's just great. I definitely feel like that the more I got to voice him, the more comfortable and gelled in I got with his character. But I mean, that's the case with a lot of serialized television and acting. But he it was just so much fun, and getting to play against the likes of Alejandro Saab and Sarah Nada Jenny was just incredible. And yeah, and Lisa's direction with him was fantastic because like she was excellent about like making sure I stay on point with how he's supposed to sound, who he is, making sure he doesn't sound too villainous or a little too competitive, making sure that any of his snide comments don't come across as a little too mean, that they're just right, like playful enough but still a little like biting enough. So it was really good, and she was just a lot of fun to work with, and the whole team on Pokemon were just great to work with. So yeah, and seeing how much the fans enjoy that character and everything just means so much, and of course getting to be on Pokemon. It was like a dream come true, and it's absolutely wonderful. And just the other day, I was at the Nintendo store here in New York City with my best friend, and he saw on the shelf. He's like, "Oh, look, dude, they got your character," and they did. They had Nendoroids of Raihan, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" I'd seen the figures and stuff before, but that was the first time that I'd gone to like a store and saw like products for my character, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's crazy!" Very, very humbling and wonderful, but just yeah. So it's an honor. I'm very proud of that work. You know.
Yeah, well, I'm really happy you got to play him in the Pokemon series because I used to be crazy with Pokemon when I was like 7 years old. I wanted to be in a Pokemon series ever since I was like 14 years old. But I do remember taking acting classes is very important, according to my parents.
It
Yeah.
sure is. Oh yeah, acting first, and that's the way to do it. You know, definitely get that skill and experience in with acting, and then bring it and transition it to voice acting. It's all connected together. You know.
Yeah, and Pokemon Journeys, it feels like there's a multiverse connection, like from all the regions that are coming together, just like the Avengers that are assembling together, from different universes. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, it definitely was a culmination for sure, especially when you consider it's Ash being in the World Series basically for the Pokemon world. So
yeah.
yeah, I know the series is not like ultra new anymore. But without going into spoilers, it is very important for Ash's story, and we know that they're starting a new story with a new character. So definitely check out Pokemon Journeys. It extends into Master Journeys and Ultimate Journeys, and then I think the very last installment that continues off of that is Pokemon to be a Pokemon Master or aim to be a Pokemon Master, I think it is. But
Hmm.
yeah, that quadrilogy is if you're a fan of the series and fan of Ash, it's definitely very important to check that out. So and you'll see my character there, so
Yeah.
that's cool too.
Okay.
So
Yeah, well, that's really great to hear. Say, speaking of it, how is it like working with the voice director Lisa Ortiz, who is known to be the voice director of that series and a few Pokemon shows?
she's fantastic. And she was I had taken classes that were taught by her. When she was here in New York, it was in person classes, and they were wonderful, and she just is that good. She's fantastic, and getting to work with her on the series was a dream come true. I thought, even when I was taking classes with her, I thought, gosh, it would be so great to work with her on a show, but like that'll never happen.
Hmm.
And then when I did eventually audition for it, and then even crazier still, book Pokemon, it was like, oh, we're gonna be working together. And it's like, oh my god, all right. So it was great. She's great. She's very like she really kind of I mean all voice directors to an extent do this, but she's really good about giving you the real 411 on a situation like that you're acting in, and really kind of giving it to you in your kind of language, so that it's sort of like even if they're all talking in Pokemon jargon and everything, it's like you can totally keep up. Not that that matters. I mean, I am a fan of the series, so like I understood everything that was going on, but even so, it was great, and she's really good about making sure that everything stays consistent with the character and everything, and juggling. Gosh, so many actors, so many different Pokemon. It's crazy. I don't know how anybody does it, but she does it, and she's awesome, and just is a superstar. So it's always a pleasure working with her. So yeah,
Yep, such a true legend, all right. So happy
yeah.
you had a good opportunity to work with her.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, next question. What's it like being the voice of Shepard from Yu-Gi-Oh! Brains?
A lot of fun. It was the first character role that I had done, and Yeah, I just it was he's just a lot of fun. He's a big crazy edge lord, and I love that about him. And it was great getting to play a villain. I think it was really a lot of fun having my first real character that I played be a villain. But beyond that, he wasn't just a simple villain. He had a whole really tragic backstory that was fantastic to act out for the show because I could have just stuck with, just being the angry, evil villain, but he had a whole backstory that was about when he was just a normal person and how his life, you know, went real bad and decided that it was the world's fault. Well, no, it was AI's fault. And then the rest of the world are just a bunch of sheep. Well, he's the shepherd. but
Yeah.
but basically, it was great. And one thing I was really surprised about was just that Yu-Gi-Oh tries to keep itself pretty uh, at a certain level for general audiences. But I was very surprised that they kept a lot of the real like tragedy of Shepard's backstory intact. Now I'm thinking mostly of like the original Duel Monsters anime and GX and stuff. But I don't know how the newer ones handled that subject matter, but it was just really great to see Shepard really going through stuff with his mother and the horrible accident that she had gotten into with him. For him to really kind of uh, consider and mourn the loss of his father. I mean, it was some really great stuff to really dive into for the character and for my first character voiceover. It was great. So he has a special place in my heart. I love the guy, and I right here in my booth I keep given to me by my friend Jennifer Silverman. It's keep this wonderful
Wow.
dueling mat of the shepherd and his alter ego Kenneth Drayden, or rather I should say Kenneth and his alter ego Shepherd. But
That's really
yeah, no,
awesome.
oh thank you. So I think so too. I was delighted when I got it. But
Yeah.
it's so he's very special to me. I definitely he's my first character, and you never forget your first. So
Yeah. Now we're back in the show. So, next question. What's it like being the voice of Galactus from Marvel Snap?
it's a lot of fun. I got that job through Voice 123, and I didn't believe that it was actually Marvel at first. I was like, no way, this is trolling, but it really was, and it was a lot of fun. He just got his battle quotes and stuff like that. I don't have any major soliloquies as him, but it's a lot of fun, and getting to be a part of Marvel Snap. I mean, it was easy. The would have been one up to its leading up to its release. I was a job in Manhattan, and I would see posters on the subway and in Times Square for the game, and my character Galactus was on the front cover for the game, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like it was crazy. Uh, that was definitely a very unique experience there. But the other thing was that at Comic Con, the year that it came out, Comic Con happened just like I think maybe like literally like 2 weeks before the game actually dropped. So they had a big like a whole big kind of presentation for Marvel Snap. They had like they had oh gosh, the cube, the one of the Infinity Stones basically, and they had like big screens to test the game out on and everything like that. And then they had they just had all this stuff there, and I couldn't say anything because I was under NDA. So I just went over to the exhibit and I was just looking at stuff and everything. And one of the attendants there was just like, "Oh, hi, are you interested in the game?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Yeah, well, this is a new game. It's called Marvel Snap." Marvel Snap? No way! And it's like, oh yeah, it has all these characters. It has so and so. It has so and so. It has Galactus. Oh my gosh, that's crazy, And they're like, yeah, the characters are even voice acted. They're voiced well. Wow. They just playing along, but it was really funny, and just yeah. So just and the game is still just so popular, and to this day, I'll have fans, friends, family members that'll like message me and be like, "I got Galactus," or "Galactus destroyed my game. He killed me." Like, gosh darn you, Danny! It's like, oh, characters. It's not me. Yeah. But 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 yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I mean, I never would have thought I would work on a Marvel property in any capacity. So this is it was incredible. It's just something I never ever would have imagined. Like I wanted to work on Yu-Gi-Oh. I wanted to work on Pokemon, and if I could make that happen, that'd be awesome. And they did. And I was so happy. But Marvel was just not something I ever even thought of. But I've always loved Marvel properties. Especially like Spider-Man, the animated series, the X-Men cartoon, X-Men Evolution, and then of course the MCU. But yeah, so this was super cool. So
Well, that's really great to hear. I'm really glad you're in the Marvel universe. Speaking of that, I heard they're making a Fantastic Four, which Galactus is part of the team in X-Men. I heard they're making a movie about it, but it got delayed a few times, so I'm not sure if it's still happening. But we'll see.
yeah, if they do that, that'd be super cool.
Yeah. Oh, and did you heard that Galactus has a lot of Funko Pops online, which you can send for all of your fans?
Yes, I've
Yep.
heard of. I've considered it. I've looked into how I could do that. So I might get some Funko Pops and offer that maybe on Streamily or in person at conventions, and just have them as something to sign for people that are interested. So yeah, no, I'll look into that.
Yep, true. Yeah. All right. Next question. What is your favorite cartoons or anime series that you grew up watching as a kid before you got into the voiceover? Like, which one's your favorite?
Like what anime series is my favorite?
Yeah.
I would probably say, gosh, I mean, the answer is somewhere between Dragon Ball Z, Cowboy Bebop, and Bleach. It's probably one of those three. Cowboy Bebop is probably the one that I considered like incredible. And Dragon Ball Z, of course, is legendary, and I grew up watching it, coming home from school every day to see the new episodes and everything. And then Bleach was something that came more when I was closer to my teenage years, and really enjoyed it. And still do, and I'm so happy that they brought it back for its final arc with the Thousand Year Blood War. Yeah, so I'd say somewhere between those three is
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy you're enjoying those anime series so far. Hopefully, you could get to be in those anime series in the future if God notices. But we'll see. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I think you'd frozen there really quick. Just say that one more time.
Yep. I'm really happy you. Sorry. I'm really
Okay.
happy you got a good opportunity to voice in Bleach and Dragon Ball Z if you wanted to be in that series. If there's a chance, God would choose you. Trust me. If there's a
Thank
chance.
you.
But we'll see in the
I
future.
I enjoy them. I It's one of those things where I mean, like, as much as you might enjoy any sort of given property, it's not necessarily always like a matter of, oh, I want to be in it. I mean, um not in any sort of bad way. It's just about the circumstances. I think for Bleach, they mostly stick with LA talent, and Dragon Ball, I think mostly Texas talent and all that sort of thing. So I mean, for me, keep I keep in mind, like, I enjoy something, but that doesn't mean I have to be in it. It's just sort of like, it was, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon before was handled in New York, so it was like, okay, that's something I could have a chance at auditioning for. And to be in something more than anything else, I would want to just have the opportunity to audition. Whether or not I would get in it is something that would be like miraculous and incredible. But and then it's with respect to how the show handles its stuff, and if it's not something that's tenable for me, it's fine. But I still love it either way, because if I'm a fan of something, I'm a fan of it. But if I'm part of it in terms of an actor or part of the production, that's its own sort of thing. So yeah, but thank you. That would be a lot of fun. Either of those, I mean, they're both legendary series, and being in either of them would be incredible. But I love them regardless.
Yep, you're very much welcome. Yeah, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome again. Okay, next question. Have you ever been to Comic Cons where you watched the Q&A show with the voice actors of how they got their career in voiceover?
No, I don't think I have. I have gotten the chance to go to like Comic Con and Anime NYC and meet voice actors. I've met uh, Johnny Young Bosch, Sharon Mulay, Michelle Ruff, Richard Epcar, a lot of cool people. and gotten to hear their story about how they got involved in the industry and stuff like that just by talking with them and all that sort of stuff. But in terms of going to like a big panel, I don't think I've really done that yet. But I'm still pretty new to Comic Con. I only started going in like 2021, 2022 maybe. I'm trying to remember. Wait, 20. Yeah, I want to say I started going in like maybe late 2021 is when I started going to those conventions. So yeah, so yeah. Well, one of these days I'll go to one of those kind of panels and stuff like that. But in the meantime, I just like going to those conventions and just getting to meet them one on one for like during their autographing stuff and everything, and be like, oh, I'm a voice actor too, and it's like, oh yeah, and it's like, and then we talk and everything, and it's cool. So yeah.
Well, that's really great to hear. I'm really happy you had a good opportunity to meet all these famous people. Like speaking of that, once you go to a Q&A show and there's some students that want to get a creative voiceover, here's my tip. You have to go to the Q&A show with the voice artist if you have a chance and make sure to bring a notepad to write all the notes that the voice actors give out which tips before you could get into voiceover. Trust
Oh
me,
yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they'll definitely drop nuggets of wisdom. The more you've been in it, the more nuggets you collect. So I mean, even for my own class, I got my notebook that I took a whole bunch of notes in and stuff like that because there's just so many nuggets of wisdom being dropped. So
Yeah.
it was yeah, it's great.
Yep. Really glad to hear it. Okay, final question. Which anime shows or video games would you like to voice in the future? It could be Demon Slayer, Star Wars, DC, or anything you like to voice at.
Hmm. My oh man, should I put this out there? I mean, why not?
Sure.
My big amazing, oh my god, if I could make this happen kind of goal would be to voice in Batman. It would be like any sort of iteration of Batman. It could be a movie, TV series, a mini series, whatever have you. It could be Bruce Wayne, Batman himself. It could be another character. It could be Nightwing, or it could be the villains. It could
Mm.
be Joker, Two Face, Riddler. It doesn't matter. I love Batman. I grew up watching Batman the animated series and the DC animated universe in general, and I love it so much. So any sort of animated Batman property or video game, well, I'll throw that to video games too, would be incredible. That's sort of my big lofty goal. And then another lofty goal is to be in a Disney production, preferably a movie, but it could be a TV show or anything like that too. So those are sort of my big kind of things. For anime kind of stuff, you know, I don't, I I don't know. I mean,
Well,
like because with different studios and the way they have different things, and this region handles that one, and da 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 da. It depends on what lands where, and even then, I just kind of want the opportunity to audition. But if anything, I guess my next thing that I would love to do would be to be part of a like a comedy anime. I mean, technically, you could say Sevens is that, but like something really funny. Maybe it could be a little raunchy.
yeah.
There was Konosuba though that I did extra voices on, but another funny one. I want to be on another funny anime. That would be a lot of fun. So yeah.
Well, that's really great to hear. Hopefully, if there's a chance, if God notices, if
Oh
there's
yeah.
a chance and hope, it would come to a reality. Trust me. But we'll see in the future.
That's right. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome. Yeah, speaking of Batman, I do remember like growing up with one of the Batman games that I had with my sibling. I think it was like the pluggy play where you plug in your video game console right into the computer. It was actually a great time playing with it, but I don't know where it is, unfortunately. But you should. I think they all sell them stuff on eBay, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, hopefully you could get to voice them. But we'll
Thank
see.
you. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I remember when I was a kid, I played, and I still have it, the PS1 Batman Forever game, and that game is
yeah.
crazy, but it's so much fun. And nowadays, I enjoy the Arkham games. Like whenever I want to experience Batman, that's when I go back and play. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm still looking forward for Joker's sequel to be out. You heard the musical one that's gonna release with Harley
I
Quinn.
I didn't know it was going to be a musical, but
Yeah,
I had heard there was going to be a sequel to the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. I
yeah.
thought is what I heard. Musical. That's, I mean, for for Joker, yeah, no, yeah, no, no, particularly like the Mark Hamill interpretation, I can see leaning into that. So if they lean into that kind of interpretation of the character, then sure,
Yeah.
why not? I'm sure it'll be crazy, but yeah, that's Joker.
Yep. Yep. Joker, I actually like the first one. Like, it's almost been like 5 years since that movie came out, which time went really fast. But yeah.
Yeah, time is horrible, horrible mistress, but yes.
Yeah, true. Yeah. All right. That is it for this episode. Thank you so much, Danny, for joining here in my podcast.
Hey,
Sorry. In my
okay,
series. Sorry. Just had a little cold. But
you're
thank you so
good.
much for joining here. I really appreciate
And I
it.
really appreciate you having me on. This is a lot of fun, Richard. And you're always so supportive of not just me, but so many other voice actors. We all appreciate you so much, and it's very much noticed just how wonderful and positive
Aw,
you are.
why
So
thank
thank you.
you.
Yeah,
Really appreciate
absolutely.
it. Yep. And remember, stay awesome, stay positive, and stay happy for all your fans that support you and care for you. All right. Take care,
Appreciate that,
Danny.
Richard. You too. Take care.
You too. Bye bye.